Not being a cannibal doesn't mean you're safe from prion diseases, as Kuru disease is not the only prion disease that exists. Now, if you haven't watched any of my cannibalism videos, prions are basically proteins that live on the surfaces of different cells in your body. They're normal, they're fine, they're dandy, and you do in fact need them to live. However, disease-causing prions are a little bit different, as they are what are formed whenever a normal prion is misfolded, as proteins in your body are pretty finicky and like to be folded the right way in order to function properly. And these misfolded prions can cause many different diseases, like one that triggers insomnia and makes that insomnia get worse and worse until you eventually die, also known as fatal insomnia disease. Now, there are two different types of fatal insomnia disease. There is fatal familial insomnia disease, which is an inherited condition that has to do with the mutation of a gene called the PRNP gene, which is located on chromosome 20. Then there is sporadic fatal insomnia disease, which does not involve inheritance at all. Now, how this disease works in a nutshell is basically we have these disease-forming prions, right? And once we have one of those misfolded disease-forming prions, those misfolded prions start to accumulate, specifically in this area of the brain called the thalamus, which is the brain's sleep and regulation center. And as the accumulation of these misfolded prions occurs, your thalamus starts to rapidly degenerate in response, leading to worsening insomnia, panic attacks, and hallucinations at the beginning, followed by dementia, coma, and eventually death at the end. Now, usually when it comes to the onset of this disease, it doesn't really affect you until you're in your 40s to 60s. However, it is possible for it to affect you anywhere between your 20s all the way up to your 70s, with the earliest case of sporadic fatal insomnia affecting a 13-year-old. And I hate to say it, but once the symptoms of fatal insomnia disease start to occur, that's when the clock starts ticking, as it can take anywhere from 7 to 96 months after the initial onset for you to sadly pass away. Now, thankfully, these are very rare diseases, but it is still a very sad and very scary prion disease.